Good evening and welcome to the Manteno Village Board meeting for Monday, March 1st, 2021. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Boyce?
Here.
Martin?
Here.
Dole?
Here.
Crockett?
Here.
Geske?
Here.
Phillips?
Here.
We have a quorum. Tonight, as always, we begin with the approval of the minutes. In tonight's packet, everyone has got a copy of the minutes from our February 16th board meeting. Is there any changes, additions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, I'd accept the motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented by the clerk.
So moved.
Motion by Geske,
Second.
second by Martin. Roll call.
Geske?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Crockett?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. Public participation, there's no one here. We didn't receive anything from anyone, did we?
We did not.
Okay. Village President's Report. The only item that I got tonight, at a couple of our recent committee meetings, I believe we talked about it at Finance and at Public Safety. We've been talking about the possibility of expanding our video program. We've got a lot of video cameras throughout the downtown area, throughout I-57 and different places throughout the community. And they've really been really helpful for the police department in solving a lot of different events that have taken place throughout throughout the community over the last several years, but especially in the last several months. It seems like anytime anything happens anymore, we're able to get it on camera. We've installed some new cameras on Main Street over the last year, and we've got Main Street pretty well covered. We've got, over by the Village Hall at 3rd and Route 50 covered. We've got I-57 covered, and we're trying to expand our coverage throughout the community, both at the village expense and putting cameras up. But then also we talked about the possibility of trying to work with the homeowners and anyone that is interested in installing a Ring camera or whatever other brand they might want to install, to be able to maybe help them and supplement with that, as long as we could get a list of all the cameras that are around town and that the police would be able to have access to those cameras if in fact something ever happened in the neighborhood. Obviously the police wouldn't have access to it all the time, but if there was an incident that took place in a particular block, and they had records knowing that 3 or 4 people in that block had a camera, that they could go to those individuals and look to see if there's something that might be on tape. So we came up with a program, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. LaRock. Chris, you want to talk a little bit about what the village is proposing to do? And we're using some of our Cures money to try to pump back into the economy, and we know that a lot of people have bought cameras already, and we wanted to be able to cover some of those, and then also if anybody's interested in potentially purchasing a camera. So, Mr. LaRock, you want to explain what we're going to do?
Yes, what we came up with, this is going to be open to all the residents of the village. You can receive up to a $100 rebate from the village. It'll be whatever the actual cost of your camera or your system is, up to $100. The rebates are going to be limited 1 per parcel number. It's a pretty simple 1-page application. You can pick it up at Village Hall at the drive-up window, or tomorrow it should be on the website. You can go there and print it off. You turn in that application along with a copy of your receipt for the camera, and we'll go out and verify that the camera is installed on your house. And within a few weeks, you'll get a check for $100 from the village. So the receipts can be dated all the way back to January 1st of 2020, and that program will be in place through the end of this year. So if anybody has bought one in the past, it still would be eligible. Like I said, we took this all the way back to the beginning of last year just to make sure we get as many people involved and covered as possible. So, and if you have any questions, you can call us at Village Hall as well, or email somebody there, and we can give you the particulars. But it's pretty simple. We tried to make it as simple as possible so that as many people as possible will take advantage of the program.
And the camera, it doesn't matter the brand, I mean, there's a couple different brands out there, whatever camera they choose, it doesn't matter, up to the $100 fee.
Yeah, and it can be an entire system. If you put an entire security system in your house, and part of that is outdoor cameras. It's obviously, this is not for indoor, but as long as your outdoor camera points towards either a street or an alley so that we have some view towards a public area, then it would qualify. So even if you put in an entire system, you can still get up to that $100. So.
Then at the Village Hall, we have a file on basically every address in the community for whenever anybody gets building permits or roof permits or plumbing permits or whatever. So I'm assuming that these forms will go into those addresses, so we'll have a record of anybody that does have it. And part of the form is that they authorize the police to be able to view that if something ever takes place.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So if anyone is interested, and after starting, like I say, we've discussed this at a number of different committee meetings, starting tomorrow, you can, like you said, get it on the website. You call the Village Hall if you have any questions. Look through your old receipts from, January of last year, or if you're looking at potentially buying something in the future. The camera's good, like I say, even if it costs you $120, the reimbursement is maxed up to $100 per address?
Yeah, per parcel number.
Per
correct.
parcel number, okay. So if anyone has any questions, you can call the Village Hall. Other than that, I have nothing else. Village Administrator's report, do you have anything, Mr. LaRock?
I do not.
Committee reports, Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Boyce.
I have nothing tonight on the agenda. I do have a meeting on the 23rd of this month. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Boyce. Properties and Recreation, Mr. Martin.
I have one thing on the agenda, consideration, a motion to authorize the village president to sign the renewal of the lease agreement between the Village of Manteno and MYBSL, and that is every year, the board and the local baseball softball organization enter an agreement to allow the use of the fields in the concession stand at Heritage Park. This agreement allows for the mutual benefit of the community by having a place for the program to continue providing an organized recreational baseball and softball program for the children. And the board recognizes the volunteer effort this program requires and is grateful for all the hard work.
We started making this formal agreement, a couple of years ago now. It's worked out well because it kind of lets everybody know who's responsible for maintaining what parts of the field and what parts of the concession stand. I mean, it's all village property, but sometimes as the baseball program changes different leadership, sometimes it's not clear as to who's responsible for what. So this kind of sets it all down, and it's worked out well since we've been doing it. Yeah. Anybody have any questions in regards to that? Anything else, Mr. Martin?
Just that we have our next Parks and Recreation Commission meeting is coming up on March 17th.
Yep.
Which is right around the corner. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Public Safety and Health, Mrs. Dole.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple items on the agenda tonight. Ordinance 20-26, an ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property, which is surplus municipal property. The police department has a 2007 Nissan car that is no longer useful to the department. This is a vehicle that was seized several years ago and used for transportation to and from training events. Consideration for a motion to authorize the purchase of 4 2021 Ford Police Interceptors at a cost of $34,135 each from Taylor Ford of Manteno. As discussed at the recent financing meeting, we will be paying for 2 vehicles in this fiscal year and other 2 in fiscal year 2022. Although we did not budget for 2 vehicles in this fiscal year, revenues have come in higher than expected, and the board felt replacing outdated police vehicles is a priority for maintaining resident safety. I don't know, Chris or Al, if you wanted to add anything to that, or it pretty much sums it up, I would think.
Yeah, again, it's we're splitting the cost, but it's going to take a few months for those to come in, so we wanted to get them ordered right away.
Yeah, wasn't there like a 5-month delay or something?
Yeah, 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, so that's why we're ordering them.
And another consideration, a motion to authorize the purchase of a fixed LPR camera system from Minuteman Security Technologies, Tinley Park, Illinois, for a cost of $27,815.29. This authorizes the updating of our camera system at the I-57 interchange to improve the license plates reader system and repurpose the existing cameras to use for overview coverage. This camera has been instrumental in solving many crimes, as the mayor said earlier, including a recent accident that damaged the traffic light control box at the west intersection. The offender fled, but was identified by the camera system and charged, ensuring the cost of repairs will not have to be paid by the village. This system update is a budgeted expense. And my next...
And just to comment on that too, that accident knocked out that box, and the box is, Jim, you said around $45,000?
We had a price tag of $27,000 for the equipment, and I think that includes the labor as well.
Okay, so $30,000.
Yeah.
So that one accident
Yeah.
gave us the ability gave the police department the ability to identify the offender, issue him citations, and now his insurance company is responsible for that replacement, as opposed to having the village insurance company or us have to pay the deductible or whatever. So, and these cameras have been used time and time again, not only by our police department, but I know the chief says that they get calls from other departments wanting to know about vehicles getting on and off I-57. So with these enhanced license plate readers, even if a vehicle is stolen in another community and gets off at Manteno, the police will get a text message in their car that a stolen car just got off at I-57 in Manteno, and we've had one or two incidents where we've actually recovered the vehicles and made arrests in parking lots of our local businesses because of the cameras that we had there before. These will make it even, more efficient.
Helpful. Al, do you want to add anything to that, or just...
No, like the mayor says, we've got 57 covered pretty well. It's very important for the police department. It's been really valuable. And the current cameras out there are over 5 years old now, and in technology terms, that's like dog years. They're getting pretty old and not working really as well as we'd like. So this will definitely, I think, up our abilities to monitor what's going on out there.
Thank you. Our next public safety meeting is Wednesday, March 10th at 7 a.m. here at the Village Boardroom. I've got a couple safety tips. It's great to see the warmer weather and sun after almost a month of snowstorms. However, the danger of slick roads is not over. With the temperatures hovering right around freezing, motorists still need to be cautious when driving. The sun and warmer temperatures are allowing the snow to melt during the day, but as the sun goes down and the temperature drops below freezing during the evening, the water on the roadway refreezes and can be dangerous to drive on. You can be on dry, clean roads 1 minute and a sheet of ice the next. Slow down, especially near piles of melting snow, and be aware that ice can be very difficult to see at night. Hopefully we are done with the snow this season, but still drive slowly and cautiously for everyone's safety. And another one, you can never tell by looking outside now that we have dealt with the coldest and the snowiest February in years. I could not help to notice that the neighbors helping neighbors dig out. It was also a great sight to see a lot of residents adopt a fire hydrant to clean the snow away. And the village did a great job cleaning a lot of fire hydrants. With that amount of snow, Public Works did countless removal of snow on the streets would be passable, so you could only stack so much. Thing is, think spring. It is important to have enough smoke alarms in the home. Fire research has shown that with today's modern furnishings, fire can spread more rapidly than ever. Residents and authorities should take steps to make sure that enough smoke alarms are in the home. We keep repeating this safety item for a reason. Just listen to the news and how many homes, if they only had a working smoke alarm, that they would be alive today. I want to talk a little bit, we've talked about this before, but Scott's Law, the move-over law. Scott law mandates that when approaching any police or other emergency vehicle stopped along the roadway, you must proceed with due caution, change lanes if possible, reduce your speed. An authorized emergency vehicle under Scott's law includes any vehicle authorized by law to be equipped with oscillating, rotating, or flashing lights under Section 12-215 of this code, while the owner or operator of the vehicle is engaged in his or her official duties. Scott's Law was named after Lieutenant Scott Gillen of the Chicago Fire Department, who was struck and killed by an intoxicated driver while assisting at a crash on Dan Ryan Expressway. Scott's Law, Chapter 625 of the Illinois Compiled Statutes mandates that upon approaching a stationary authorized emergency vehicle, when the authorized emergency vehicle is giving a signal by displaying alternating flashing red and blue lights, amber or yellow warning lights, a person who drives an approaching vehicle proceed with due caution, yield the right-of-way by making a lane change into a lane not adjacent to that of the authorized emergency vehicle. If possible, with due regard to safety and traffic conditions. If on a highway, having at least 4 lanes with not less than 2 lanes proceeding in the same direction as the approach vehicle. Proceed with due caution, reduce the speed of the vehicle, maintain a safe speed for road conditions if changing lanes would be impossible or unsafe. And if you violate Scott's Law, you can get commit a business offense punishable by fine of not more than $10,000. Scott's Law also provides that in the factor of aggravation, if the person committed the offense while under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or intoxicating compounds, if this is the case, a person driving privileges shall be suspended for 90 days to 1 year if the violation results in damage to the property or another person, 180 days to 2 years if the violation results in an injury to another person, 2 years if the violation results in the death of another person. And I also wanted to remind you about March 14th, 2021. The time will change. You move your clocks ahead. So we're back to moving our clocks ahead this month, in a couple weeks. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Dole. Planning and zoning, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything on the agenda this evening. We do have a Planning and Zoning Committee meeting scheduled for March 23rd, 7 a.m. here in the Village Boardroom. The Planning Commission meeting that was scheduled for Tuesday the 9th has been canceled. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Finance, Mr. Geske.
Thank you, Mayor. The only item I have is payment of bills in the amount of $114,587.59, none of which were TIF bills. We have no bills authorized and paid between board cycle. Our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for the 10th at 7 a.m. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. The General Government, Mr. Phillips. Welcome
I have
back.
nothing on the agenda.
Well, you're just getting back and getting in the groove. So tonight on the consent agenda, we'll be voting on the following items. Under old business, nothing. Under new business, a motion to authorize the village president to sign the renewal of the lease agreement between the Village of Manteno and MYBSL. Ordinance number 2 is ordinance 2026, an ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property, surplus municipal equipment. Item number 1 under consideration of contracts and bids, a motion to authorize the purchase of 4 2021 police interceptors at a cost of $34,135 each from Taylor Ford of Manteno, which is a state bid price. Item number 2 is motion to authorize the purchase of a fixed LPR camera system from Minutemen Security Technologies out of Tinley Park for a cost of $27,815.29. And finally, a motion to approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $114,587.59. Are there any items on the consent agenda that we need to vote on individually?
Yes, the cars, please.
Okay, so item number C1. Okay. So the items that we'll be voting on will be everything except C1. Anything else? Seeing none, anything else? I'd accept the motion to take a single roll call vote of the question of passage of the agenda items as read minus C1. Motion by Phillips.
I'll second.
Second by Crockett. Roll call.
Phillips?
Yes.
Crockett?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
And Geske?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'd accept a motion to approve by unanimous vote the ordinances, resolutions, motions, and orders contained in the consent agenda as read, with the exception of C1.
So moved.
Motion by Geske.
I'll second.
Second by Crockett. Roll call.
Geske?
Yes.
Crockett?
Yes.
Boyce?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Motion carries. Someone want to make a motion to approve item number C1, which is the motion for the 4 vehicles?
I will make that a
Go
motion.
ahead.
Motion by Dole, second
Second.
by Martin. We have a motion by trustee Dole, second by trustee Martin to approve item number C1, the purchase of the 4 vehicles from Taylor Ford of Manteno.
Dole?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Boyce?
Abstain?
Crockett?
Yes.
Geske,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries. Comments, you have anything tonight you want to talk about, Mr. Boyd?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Martin?
Nothing.
Mrs. Dole?
No, I don't have anything either.
Mr. Crockett?
Like everybody else, nothing tonight.
Mrs. Yeski? Oh,
Glad to be back.
Wendell, we're glad to have you back. I have nothing further, so I accept the motion to adjourn. Motion by Boyd, second by Geske, roll call.
Boyce.
Yes.
Geske.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Dole.
Yes.
Crockett.
Yes.
And Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming and for watching.